Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So I thought we'd like kind of do a little bit of an exploration. And we did a little bit of it last night in the ORIC programming deeper dive last night on the Tuesday night stream. But the idea being that here we're going to play with the idea of protection. And, a lot of times when we think of protection, we think of people projecting nasty thoughts at us, or being affected by somebody's emotions, or being in a stressful environment. And so it's either things that are being projected at us or a radiatory effect, right, which is walking into an office where everybody's stressed out. It's not directed at you, but you're there 10-15 minutes and you start to feel the stress, right? So that's a radiatory effect. So the issue is that that could be an office, that could be a building, that could be a city, that could be a bigger, larger area. It could be a country, it could be a culture, it could be all kinds of things. And in a way, you could say there's different levels or degrees where we feel things because we are interconnected, right? And so the idea being that how do we how do we address this so we're not impacted by other people's feelings and things going on in the world, and that interconnectedness can be good sometimes and it can not feel so good sometimes. Like you might feel a little bit down sometimes, but it's not you, it's more the collective, right? And so for this, we always come back to the body, and we come back to the idea of the nervous system. And we're looking at the involuntary part of the nervous system, which, I'm always going on and on and on about. But your body will generate emotions to relay information to the brain. And there's times where your body might not feel comfortable, it might not feel safe. Something might be agitating in the environment or in the collective, or there's some influence. And so your body starts whispering these messages to your brain, and then when your brain doesn't really hear it, or there's not the connection between the mind and the body, then the body starts yelling, like it starts screaming at the brain, why aren't you listening to me? uh, so pain gets more intense, anger gets more intense, abandonment gets more intense. All these different feelings all of a sudden start getting much more intense. And it's the body's attempt to get uh, the attention of the brain, of the mind. And really, when you think about the idea of protection, yes, we want to keep out stuff from other people, but really the goal is for the body to feel safe, for the body to feel secure, for the body to be able to go, I can put my guard down, I can relax. If we don't reach this state, we usually don't sleep well, we don't process our emotions very well. We tend to have a lot of stress in the body. It elevates our blood pressure, our heart rate, it changes our breathing pattern. We tend to stuff emotions rather than processing emotions. It just starts to be this cascading effect. And so, sometimes we do these really formal practices, and sometimes it's just like maybe not quite as formal, but a little bit of an exploration. And, there's times where you might just do a little something at the end of the day, sitting on the couch, you know, at the end of your day, with a couple oils on the coffee table, and you're like, what could I do with that? Right. And so I thought we'd do a little exploration. I would say something that's a tree, like a big tree, like so firs, spruces, cedars, even sandalwood, aloes, um, Cypress. I'd even throw in the mix frankincense and myrrh. There's even that blend, the trees blend, you know, that's kind of what that was all about, was this like fortifying effect on the body. And so really what we're kind of doing here is we're saying protection, but we're helping the body to feel relaxed and be able to let go. And we're doing that through fortifying the nerves and just kind of strengthening the body so that the body can relax, even when it's being exposed to something that can be quite negative. And, there's a term that I haven't really used in this, but it would be constitution, your constitution. And, constitution would be like how well you handle a difficult situation, be it that you got exposed to a virus, everybody got sick, did you get sick, and how bad, and how quickly did you recover, and maybe you stubbed your toe, or maybe you wrenched your knee or something like that, and how badly does it hurt, and how quickly do you recover from this. And so this isn't just a thing, it's a bunch of things. It's a balance in the nervous system, it's your body's ability to heal, it's how deep the vagal tone goes in your body, it's how dysregulated you are. But really, bottom line is, it's a lot of emotion, physical emotion, not emotions from the emotional body, not from the mind or things that you think, but the emotion that's generated in your body. A good part of what we call blockages in the body are these homeostatic emotions, right? They're just these reactions to different things going on. And we get tied to old events. The body still feels that it's happening. The nervous system is still firing in a particular way, sending messages to the brain, because it still thinks it's in front of your boss. When he was throwing his fit 2 years ago, your body still has never like gone, yeah, we walked away from that guy, we're done, we don't have to deal with them anymore, at least not like that, right? And so sometimes these old events and people that might be in our surroundings, or just even things in the news, can be agitating to us, but our mind goes, yeah, but it's okay, or it's not really directly impacting us, but your body is having a little bit of a come apart, you know? And so let's begin to explore a little bit of what that would look like, as far as just strengthening and fortifying the body so that you're engaging a like protective quality for the body. You want the body to feel safe. You want the body to feel like it's okay for me to relax. Because, that's the thing sometimes. We might be trying to let go of some stress or get out of a stress state. But if your body thinks it's not safe, then as much as you try to get out of that stress state, your body will fight you. you know that's the thing, is the body still goes, I still feel like I'm not being heard, I still feel the need to yell at the brain and get the brain's attention. And so let's calm some of these things down. Be fine. Yeah, if you have a protect the one of the protection blends, you can use that as well. Protection premium, they're very fortifying. Right? So before we even start inhaling, let's just check in with how our body's doing. Check in with your body, listen to your body. Part of what we do when we are checking in with the breath and feeling the body tension is we're practicing listening to the body. And the more that we listen to the body, the more the body doesn't feel that it has to yell, right? Like think of like you're trying to say something to like a family member or something. And every time you talk, they're talking about something else, or you can tell they're not listening. You keep getting elevated and you keep like escalating it because you're like, I'm not feeling heard, right? And so, you feel that you need to talk louder, you need to talk more aggressively, whatever it might be. Or you just go, then I'm not talking, forget it, right? Your body does a version of that, you know. And so the more we practice listening to the body, the more that it just that starts to calm down the physical emotions and starts to regulate some of the nervous system. So let's just check in with the body. Okay. And with wherever you feel some tension or an agitation in the body, your awareness is there. And with whatever oil you're using, start taking some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Then just pause and be still. Just let it go. Now, a stronger way to shift the nervous system in a very general way, right, is to visualize the ball of light. Visualize yourself surrounded by a ball of light. And you could say that that ball of light also becomes like a diagnostic tool, right? When you can close your eyes and visualize yourself in a ball of light, if the light is bright, whatever you're dealing with, the nervous system is relatively regulated. But if you're recalling like a past event and you go, oh, I think I'm done there, and you sit and you think about it, you feel it in the body, and then you go, okay, checking in with the ball of light. Oh, it's nice and bright. You're kind of good there, right? Because sometimes our emotions shut off. We're not processing, we don't feel it. We're still super stressed out about it, but it's like we're going, I don't hear you to the body, right? That's what the brain's doing. So then you go to the next situation and you go, okay, I've been seeing this brilliant ball of light around me. I can really feel it. But when I think of this situation, it's not that bright, or there's holes in it, or I start to see weird imagery. Then something in that situation is still impacting your nervous system, right? Your nervous system is feeling agitated by that, even though you might not have had an interaction with that situation for a while or that person. Your body is still connected to that and reacting to it, even though there's not a physical presence there. Right. So the more that we kind of check in with the different situations and the different people, at some point there starts to be this blanket effect on the various parts of our nervous system, regardless of what it is. But at first, we have to kind of pick our hot spots, right? So think of this ball of light. Visualize the ball of light. You're not doing anything else. You're just visualizing the ball of light. Now, inhale the oil that you have, whatever you're using. Inhale the oil with your awareness on the ball of light. If you don't get a visual in your mind, that's okay. Sometimes you can still feel the presence of it. Sometimes it takes the mind a little bit to get used to this idea, right? You're focused on the ball of light. And you're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Now, just be still. Let everything go. Just let everything go. Notice how your body feels. We checked in with the body right off the bat. Check in with it again. How is it starting to feel? Okay. Check in with the ball of light again. Okay. So you're just checking in with the ball. Try inhaling again. You're still observing the ball. You're inhaling. And you're just being still. Again, how did your body feel? Feeling kind of okay, yeah. Now, we kind of have established a baseline. So we're exploring this idea, right? So, what I'd like you to do is just think about last week, just your last week. Doesn't have to be anything bad, just like the things that happened last week. Yeah, for you. Maybe not. It could just be like I was telling Samantha, just think about like office stuff or just things that you did. Okay. Now check in with that ball of light. What do you notice with the ball of light? Did it say the same? Did it get brighter? Or did it get a little wonky? If you're anything like me, sometimes they get a little wonky, right? And that's just who knows what happened last week. So again, you thought about your last week, you're thinking about the ball. Again, with your oil, start inhaling with your awareness on the ball of light. Okay. So it was only like a minute or two, right? Go back and evaluate last week. What did you notice? Does last week feel the same? And then when you come back to the ball of light, what do you notice? What did you notice? Right. So here's the thing. When you are visualizing the ball of light, part of what's happening is that is a manifestation of a balance between the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Basically, your involuntary part of your nervous system, which runs all your body's processes and is associated with the lower emotion that we are talking about all the time, right? When we visualize this and the ball is bright, it means in this area that's relatively regulated. The more that that part of your nervous system where we have good vagal tone and we don't have dysregulation in the flight mechanisms, what happens is it produces light. First, it's light in the pineal gland, but it will manifest out in the aura, right? Part of what we're doing with the auric program is we're unwinding a crime scene that happened, our lifetime, right? We're just unwinding it. But here we're just going to the ball of light, right? So in this, when you look at a situation, here we're just looking at last week, and you can go like, well, it was fine, or like, it was a little weird, right? And so just coming back and doing the ball of light actually starts to manipulate the body back into a place of harmony. But also it's a way for us to evaluate, that was a lot more stressful than I realized. I was a lot more upset than I realized. And my mind and my emotions might have been completely fine, right? But my body was freaked out. I've had situations where I walked into an office and I was there for 3 or 4 hours. Mentally and emotionally, I was totally fine. Everything was good. It was under control. There was some like little stressful things, but it was all being handled. Oh, it was exhausting. My body was in like freak out mode. Like I had to go take a nap. Like I rarely get to take naps. Like so, but I had to take this long nap, and I was out of it. And it was because, my mind and body, or my mind and emotions were fine. My body was super stressed, and really what was happening was the people that I was meeting with were super stressed. And so that made my body feel like it wasn't safe, like it was agitated, right? And so this becomes a treatment, and it becomes like a litmus test. Like you can check, like how bad do I feel here? Like I might not be feeling all my feelings, or my mind and emotion feel something, but really how's my body doing? Because we don't always hear the whispers that are happening in the body until the body is screaming at us. So utilizing the ball, right? Utilizing the ball, for one, it's therapeutic just by itself. But two, it can almost be like a way of putting any situation under the microscope, and you can go like, that was kind of bad. I might have a little PTSD there. I might be a little upset. I might have a little resentment towards that person in my family, like whatever it is, right? Because again, sometimes these situations we know because they're directed at us, but sometimes it's just radiatory. We don't even realize the impact that these things are having. So just to experiment with that, again, check in with the ball. Inhale a little bit with your awareness on the ball. Okay, let that go for a moment. Just let it go. Okay, so we're going to do a little experiment again. Think of the news. Just something in the news. Okay, let it go. Look at your ball of light. What happened to your ball of light? So you could have different effects here, right? Like for you, you said the ball got stronger, right? So when the nervous system has been trained enough, sometimes that's going to be the response to radiatory like effects, right? But sometimes there are certain things in the news where it might be triggering, right? And so you'll go, yeah, I used to have a ball. I don't have a ball anymore. Like, ugh, right? Or you'll even start to like see weird imagery in the ball, right? And so again, this is a therapeutic approach as well as a diagnostic. Like this situation bothers me. This situation does not bother me. Like if it got bright, this situation does not bother me. My nervous system is balanced in this area. I don't have dysregulation. I have good vagal tone. And then you go to something else in the news and you're like, I used to have a ball. I don't know what happened to it, but I used to have a ball, right? Because something stirred in you or something made the body not feel safe. It might not be that you emotionally got upset, it might not be that your brain got upset, but your body had a little bit of a reaction. So then you go, oh. So then you can, again, try visualizing the ball and then inhale the oil to help strengthen the ball so that it balances out the nervous system. So, here we're doing it generally, but what we'll be doing later on is going body system by body system, working the ball of light and manipulating the energy field that will directly impact our nervous system and the production of emotion, right? So this is where org programming was always going eventually. But you could say this isn't necessarily org programming. This is about vagal tone and dysregulation. It is a deeper aspect of this, right? So before we do maybe a little bit more experiment, let's do little shares or questions. I suspect Robert might have a question.
How do you know me, Greg? So you sort of answered that question saying that this is a diagnostic tool.
Mhm.
And I like that. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
How does that compare to something like measuring someone's energy field?
It would be a different version of it. You know, the thing that I like about this is, because when we have, like, if you were to mirror somebody and you feel their energy body and you scan their spiritual cord, right, we all have a cord that comes in, and when we're having positive experiences or when we're connected to our higher faculties, the cord increases. But then when we have negative emotions or negative responses, we're not accurate in the things that we're thinking or feeling, right? The cord shrinks. So when it increases, the light increases, and when the cord decreases, the light goes down. And so this ball of light is a manifestation of the mental permanent atom in the pineal. So you're basically watching how the light fluctuates in these different situations. So I think it's a good way to do self-diagnosis, like you can just evaluate, because I use myself as an example. There's areas where I'm sensitive and there's areas where I'm kind of not. And I'll go back and I'll look at some situation and I'll go, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, whatever. I got past it. Maybe things were said on both sides. We got over it. We went our separate ways, whatever it is. And then, I go back and I go, okay, let's sit with it and let's feel it in the body and do all the practices that we do. And then after a while I'll be sitting with it and I was like, yeah, my feelings were pretty hurt there. But I didn't feel the hurt where it registered, but my body knew, right? And so my nervous system was reacting to something that my emotions and my mind were like, yeah, we're good. We're good. We walked away. We're done. We're safe. We don't have to deal with that person anymore. The body was like, no, that person was crazy. Like, let's not, they might come back around again, whatever the story is. The body just has these really kind of like root base reactions, and it doesn't just let things go when we walk away. And so even that idea of releasing cords is, part of how that happens with oils is you're just regulating a part of the nervous system so that that connection is done, what it is, right? And so here you're using the ball and you're almost like using it in these different situations, going, okay, the ball is bright here, the ball is bright here, the ball is bright here. But when I get over here, not so bright. So somehow, some way, that situation, that person, that thing in the news is impacting you, but you're not consciously aware of it. So the thing that I would say is it's a way to pick up things that are unconsciously affecting you without having to do some weird deep dive and try to go deep within something. You can just kind of go, yeah, nervous system's not regulated there. And then you just regulate it. Because a lot of times when you go in the unconscious, there's not any big like story or aha. It's just usually like, yeah, I was traumatized. Yeah, I was afraid. Yeah, I don't feel safe. Yeah, I feel abandoned. It's stuff like that. It's really um, very simple pieces of information. Very very simple. And so they're usually trying to tell the brain something like, hey, I don't feel safe. Hey, I'm hurt. Or hey, I'm feeling really abandoned here. I feel like I'm so isolated that something bad's going to happen to me, whatever it might be. And so the ball will help regulate the nervous system. So we just move through that, right? Because we don't really have to do the whole story. We just got to shift the nervous system. And then if there's some emotion or some part of the story, it'll just kind of process out, right? But it's also a way to like you said, like to diagnose or evaluate these situations in a way that maybe feeling energy doesn't always get to. Like, because even when you're feeling energy, you still have to go, well, what's this about and what's going on? And, you know, is this stress or is this a traumatic event? Or where here you can just look at the ball. Ball's not very bright right here. Something's up. So that just means balance the nervous system. If something really needs to be addressed, it will produce itself in the balance of the nervous system.
So if a client, well, I did a healing a week or so ago where I had the client be in the ball
Sure.
and think of the situation, event, person, whatever, and then breathe angel parasyel
Okay.
and do that for a while and then stop and go back to the situation and describe what happened, what's different, how it feels now versus how it felt when they started.
Uh-huh.
And what they came back with each time was, I'll describe as another layer or another something that they needed to work on.
Great. Yeah.
So that isn't unusual. That's sort of like, okay, there's something else hidden here, and now
Right.
we can go at it.
And sometimes it's not even that, like there might be something that they need to work on, but sometimes it's like if you think of two people, like two partners, and they're talking it out, and one person goes, when you say that, it makes me feel like I'm not doing it right, or I can't do anything right. And then you go, well, that's not what I meant by that. I was saying da 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 da. I'm sorry that I felt, like you kind of talk it out, and then everybody realizes, like, oh, it wasn't what it seemed like.
Mhm.
That's what's happening with the body and the mind. Like you're like working the ball, you're kind of starting to listen to the body to a greater degree, where the body goes, look, I'm freaked out, I don't feel safe. And then the mind starts to kind of listen. And then it's like, well, okay, yeah, I'm freaked out, but you know I'm getting over it, and that person's gone. And it's like it starts unwinding because the brain is hearing the message. And the more that we kind of have that increase of that mind body connection, the production of lower emotion goes down substantially, like substantially. And so even here where you're talking about, like, they had a layer where they realized something came up, with the balance of the nervous system, you are going to process through whatever that emotion is. It's not going to be stuck in the body anymore. It might just be like, okay, just wait a day and let's see how you feel. I mean, sometimes it might actually be that simple.
We took
there
it, we
there
went
might
back.
be issues that come up, and then you go, well, at least now we can address the issue rather than trying to stab in the dark at something that we don't really know what it is. It's brought up, and it's usually still like, yeah, it's a little upsetting, it's a little whatever, painful, but even when it comes up, it usually starts dissipating almost immediately.
And whatever came up, I said, okay, let's go back to putting you in the ball of light
Right.
and observe it for a while, and then breathe angel parasite out for a while, and then stop, and then look at the situation now. And we just kept doing it, and it kept
Right.
bringing up a trail of things,
Right.
like from about age 2 to present,
Right.
and all over the place. No pattern known to us,
Right.
but to her body, it was there.
Right. And good example. What were you feeling when you were two? I don't know. I was two.
Remember when I was 2?
I don't know. I was five. I don't know. I was 25 and a boy. I don't know. I really don't know. You know what I mean? Like it cuts through things to where we don't have to have the mental understanding. We just go, something is making the nervous system dysregulated and have poor vagal tone. And then you just keep using the ball as like the guide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
And angels work really good with it. Like the two things that work really good with it are angels and you know how on the weekend we did the cardio, emotional, vagal tone, and dysregulation.
Hmm.
Ah, that in the ball, mwah, like it just like because we even think like, okay, I need to release these emotions like deeper within in the body, and yeah, you can follow some patterns or anything, but if you keep going like to the ball, to the body, to the situation, to the ball, to the body, and you keep working that, you cover so much ground and it regulates that part of the body, that system, so quickly. We're going to
Does
do a
it,
much deeper dive in it in the 7 layers of emotion, much deeper dive. But
does,
it's still like like this theory, even if somebody's not in the class, like this theory, I want people to start really getting this theory.
does it really matter what angel we pull out?
No, I mean they're all going to have different kinds of it's an energy with consciousness, but
Right.
you know angelic energies are very good at adapting. And the thing that I like about both doing the system and then the emotional vagal tone and dysregulation and then the angel is it doesn't force anything, like it's just this gentle like uh like releasing, like the angel really kind of holds the pattern that you can eventually go, let's step into this pattern. And the emotional component does a version of that as well, does it like more, a little bit more from the inside out, but very similar.
Yeah, I guess from my experience using the oils last weekend, the dysregulation in the uh, vagal tone oils, it was more like oh, that's what I'm working on. Like, like I gained some, the experience helped me feel something and
Right.
allow it to shift. Where
Right.
the angels are like, you don't even have to feel it, something will shift.
Right.
That
the,
was my
the,
take on it.
the idea of vagal tone and dysregulation, if you think about it, you're going back and forth, you're basically breaking out of the places where you're stuck. Like it's another way of saying blockage. You're breaking down a blockage. So why isn't something healing? Why isn't something stabilizing? Why do I feel this way? Why am I thinking this way? Why am I so reactive in my thought? All of these things are tied to that aspect of the nervous system.
That's excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's kind of exciting that we're talking about this. I don't know.
And go ahead, Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Hi there. That was really cool. Um, and I love it as a diagnostic tool. Last week it was like bright, but then my mind went to a past event like 10
Sure.
years ago.
Yeah.
And it was this beautiful cloud of gray yuck. And what I'm amazed with is how quickly it can shift.
Yeah.
Because like literally
super fast, like super
I don't
fast.
know, maybe a minute later, I went back to it. It was gone. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I've been working
Yeah.
on this too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
You know, even when you're seeing like kind of a dirty gray or whatever, that's still a good sign. Like there's
okay.
times where I go, like I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I don't have a ball anymore. I can't even, like I have to like almost start over from scratch. I like in this situation, I don't have a ball. And then I start visualizing it and inhaling, but in that area, the body was so dysregulated, like I had no idea. You know, because
Mhm.
part of the dysregulation potentially is we check out from it. We like avoid it. We don't really tap into it because it was painful, uncomfortable, it was scary, it was, you know, intense, whatever it is. And so, like you said, the ball makes it very quick, but it also is a way to evaluate without having to go relive all the crap. You know what
Yep.
I mean? You're just, if you shift the nervous system, your emotions will process through it. You don't have to make anything happen. It will just start happening. Your mind will process through it. It will just start happening.
Yeah, I think yeah, this was great because I think the mind has a temptation to go into the story.
Oh yeah.
And I could be a professional story wrangler,
Yeah.
which means
We could probably be on the same team.
exactly, we would be,
Right.
you know, like stuck there forever. And I'm like, I just
Right.
want to be done.
Yeah.
So this is fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for acknowledging my gray cloud and my ball of light was fine.
But you know, I go back to you know, when I'd work with different psychologists, you know, they would say different things like, I know why I do what I do, but I can't do anything about it. Right. Really, what they were saying was, yeah, I know what happened, or I know I do what I do, but my nervous system is dysregulated in that area, and I'm not processing my emotions or my thoughts in that area. That's all that was being said.
Mhm.
But you know, through the intellect, we come up with like, well, it's because of this and it's because of that. And the nervous system is very simple. Like it's just very, very simple. And so, you know, the one that was something that would come up often is, I want to forgive, I don't know how. And even a thing like forgiveness is really, you know, like a transmutation of something or a letting go of something. That's still, if the nervous system is balanced, it will just go through the process and happen. Like you don't really have to make it happen. It's that we just have to not be
Yeah.
dysregulated and have good vagal tone in that area. And we're already wired to do it. We just let our neurology do what it's going to do.
Yeah. Wasn't there a book that says the body keeps score?
Uh, I, I'm not aware of it, but that's makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So the body goes, yep, it's not safe
Yeah.
enough to let that go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold on to
Exactly.
that.
Not safe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not safe.
Yeah.
I feel hurt. I feel, you know, abandoned. I feel, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This is fantastic.
Yeah, good. So this isn't just a one-off. We're going to be doing this for a while. So, yeah. So I don't know. We'll keep playing with it and everything. We got to jump over to the Perber practice, but sorry I had to cancel last week. I just, all the travel and everything got caught up to me, so I just needed a down night. But yeah, I'm glad we got to talk about it tonight, and we'll be talking about it more over the next week or two. So